Hey everybody, this is Javier Valderamos. This is Planet Texas. I have Miss Emily Bonds here. So we were gonna have Miss Emily Bonds there about a week or two ago, but she said, "Hold on, wait a minute. I gotta go to this beauty pageant." And sure enough, she won. So I
I
have Miss
did.
West, Emily Bonds,
Did.
here on the program. Thank you for coming on. It was worth the wait.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's always fun to talk to people and to talk about pageants and addiction, stigma, and just all the things. It's fun to talk about all of it.
So we're gonna talk about exactly what did you do to win Miss Southwest?
Oh, okay. So the pageant itself is, we'll talk about scoring. So there's an interview that you do. It's like a 6, 7 minute interview where you talk to the judges about things that are important to you. They ask you questions. I got questions about my platform, which is overcoming alcohol and addiction stigma. They asked me some questions about what it's like to be a parent today, what it's like to, what's some great advice you've gotten. They ask just general questions like that, just to make sure that you're not a robot and that you can talk and that you're someone that they would genuinely maybe like to go to dinner or like to go to coffee with. Then there's the stuff that you see on stage. There's evening gown, which I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with. It's when the girl wears the pretty dress and walks around and does the poses as I'm posing in my chair. And then also, this pageant does not have swimsuit. The Universal Miss system does not have swimsuit. They have what's called open fashion. So the best way to describe that, it's like a fun jumpsuit with maybe a skirt, like a skirt you can play with and show that you're good at modeling clothes. Mine happened to have been a jumpsuit that was gold with sequins on it, and the sequins were purple and green, and then I had a big, pretty, fluffy skirt. I'll have to send you a picture on Facebook Messenger because this thing, it is like awesome. Um, so you have that and you model that, and then they tally up your scores, and if you score more than everybody else, you get a shiny crown. Um, but there's also, so that was basically 30, 30, 30. So that's 90% of your score. Universal Miss has another segment of their judging. It's called personal introduction. So that's where you have about 50 seconds to introduce yourself to the audience. And so there was that too. And I talked about all the things that I'm already doing as just a citizen, and how I can do that. How, if I continue to do that, I can serve as the next title holder. And obviously, they liked what they saw and what they heard. And I came home with my shiny crown. So I won.
Hell yeah, you won.
I
How
won.
excited how excited was everybody for you? Like when you heard that you won, what was like some of the first things that
Yeah,
came to
so I
you?
got my I got so they gave away two titles. I got the Southwest title and then there was a Miss Texas title, but I got the Southwest title. So after I got my trophy and my crown, my husband was losing his mind. I came off stage and I was like, "Did you just see that? I just got a crown. I get to go to nationals now." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, you won, you got a crown." And so I went backstage to the hair and makeup people who did my, helped me get glamorized. And I told them, like, look what I won. I got it. I got it. I'm going to nationals. And everybody was generally happy for everybody, because pageants aren't about necessarily winning every time. You learn something every time you compete. And this was my third pageant to compete in. And the first two pageants, I learned valuable lessons there and was able to propel those into winning earlier this month. So it was just a culmination of lived experience, I guess is the best way to say.
Well, I mean, it's not just that, is but you're also a mother. You're a
Yeah.
wife. So it can't be just so the idea is like you can't always look pretty when you have
No.
multiple things. You know?
No, no, look you can't always look like you're about to compete in a beauty pageant. You can't wear, I guess you could wear fake eyelashes all the time, but I think that would be kind of weird, especially if you're at the gym. But like you said, I am a wife, I'm a mother, I have a full-time job too. I go to boot camp 6 days a week, and I'm active in the PTA, and I'm a national ambassador for a group called Shatterproof as well. But I juggle all of that along with the pageant prep and responsibilities by just effectively using my Outlook calendar. My husband and I are notorious for sending each other calendar invites because he has stuff he has to do too. He has a big boy job. He plays tennis. He has things he needs to do. So we have a shared calendar, and whatever, like, he knows that I'm taking this podcast right now. And a part of that is he needs to put the kids to bed. And
Well, that's
tomorrow, and tomorrow he's got a tennis match, and I know that, it's on the calendar, and I've known about it for a couple of weeks, and that I need to, it's going to be my responsibility after we get home from church to put the baby down for the nap and make sure that we have lunch and dinner. So it's all about teamwork.
so one of the questions I have for you is what advice would you give to somebody, some woman that wants to be in beauty pageants? Like what is
Research. Yeah. So, biggest advice is to research or think about what you want out of the experience. Do you want to be in a system like a pageant system that has a swimsuit competition? Is it important to you that there is a service mindset, or are you just you just want to be glamorous? You have to think about what you want out of the experience. And the best way to do that is just to get on these different pageant systems websites, and you can contact the director and just ask them, what are you looking for? What do you expect your title holder to do? What is the time commitment? Because they're going to talk to you because they want contestants. They want people that are generally interested in their system that they could work with. So my advice would be to look up, first of all, to think about what you want out of the experience, and then find an organization that aligns with those values.
good? That's so my other question is what would be like the best beauty pageant for people to actually start?
Well, what are our ramifications? Like, what are our like
Well, you just
ages?
get different like swimsuits and non-swimsuits for people who just don't like know exactly where to even begin.
Yeah,
Like,
I would think so. I know for me, I really actually wanted to find a system that had swimsuit because um, since I got sober, I've lost about 85, 90 pounds. And I thought it would be fun to do a pageant with swimsuit. And then I got to thinking about it. And I had actually entered a pageant that had a swimsuit optional, but that pageant ended up being delayed, which is why I even entered the Universal Miss pageant. But I would make a list of categories you would want to compete in. Like, do you want to compete in swimsuit? No. Okay, then don't go. There's several systems where everybody wears a swimsuit. Don't go there. Do you think that do you want to compete in a system that is for married women, or do you want something that, like, you're not married, so you can't meet the qualifications of Mrs. America if you're not an MRS, period.
is that
You can't
really
do
how it
it.
works?
there's a system, there's several systems that require contestants to be married. Um, and there's different categories. Like there's a like for example, the first pageant I did was the international system. There were contestants that were in the married division, which is what I was in. There was an MS division, which was for I think women over 25 or 26, but they weren't married or they were divorced. Um, there was like a Miss division, which was basically 20 to 28, and then there was a teen division, and then there was a preteen division. So there are pageants out there for everybody. You just kind of have to be on the lookout for them. And there's like Universal Miss System, for example, they have age divisions that start with like babies, legitimate babies, 0 to 2. There's a age division for that. And then there's like, and that's just how this system is set up. There's different systems for everybody.
So is it anything like the movie Miss Congeniality? I don't know if you have asked that.
Oh, yes. There are, and the thing about Miss Congeniality is it was set and I only know because I actually, so before we got on the call, I was celebrating my win with my friends and they took me out for cheeseburgers because why not? My friend Leah kind of brought up like, well, it's not like Miss Congeniality, it's a scholarship pageant. There are certain pageants where scholarships are a part of the deal, they're part of the package. But as far as kind of the cattiness, I think that's in the movie, I've never experienced that. But obviously, maybe somebody else had. Everybody has different experiences. But I've never really experienced that. And I think that's because I've been in the married division or the older age division. So we're all adults. We've lived life. We've overcome obstacles. We have wives, not wives. We have husbands and kids and careers. So we're not going to get caught up in the pettiness that is sometimes portrayed on television.
You mean you never experienced an FBI undercover agent with a
I
gun on
know.
his?
Gracie Lou Freebush.
Yeah.
I mean, I would totally be down for hanging out with Gracie Lou. I don't know. I don't know if she'd want to hang out with me. I don't feel like I'm that interesting, but I'd be down.
You're totally on for Texas. By the way, that was filmed in San Antonio.
That is true. That is true, which is
That
very. I saw something about San Antonio on the news recently, like a TikTok, and it was very, very interesting. I haven't been to San Antonio in forever, maybe since high school.
Well, you remember I thought about moving to San Antonio and then I relocated to Austin.
Yeah, I think you
But
made the better choice.
yeah, but you know what? I'll tell you what, like I do miss Corpus Christi from time to time. Like I know in Corpus there's only like one day a week to do something, and then like that's it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
But Austin has its perks too. There's always something to do. There's always people to see. The traffic is terrible in Austin, but but you kind of know that, right? Because there's all
yeah.
sorts of jokes about how terrible Austin traffic is.
Well, I mean, if you avoid the morning rush and the 5 o'clock rush, it's actually not bad. And my
Okay.
work, yeah, my work schedule starts at like I gotta be on the unit at 4 a.m. So I actually don't have to deal with any of the actual
Oh,
traffic.
wow. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would probably like fall asleep while driving, but I'm glad you're not.
Oh no, no, I got to. So what are some of the crazier things that you've experienced while doing beauty pageants?
Oh, let's see. Um, Craziest things I've seen. Well, I haven't.
I mean, you don't have to give me anything like dirty or anything you don't want to give me, but you can
Right.
give me like, like I can't believe that kind of stuff goes on. Like,
Well, I'll tell you what, my first experience getting a spray tan was interesting. I didn't know how all that worked. It did not have the best smell. And after you get a spray tan, you have to wait so long before you can like wash it off. And then you have to moisturize. I didn't realize it was a whole process. So that's definitely been something that I didn't know was a thing. And apparently, it's a whole industry. People get spray tans for fun, apparently, not just because they're going to be in a pageant or a wedding. Like, apparently, people get them quite often.
that
But
doesn't sound.
I mean, would it be fun to have somebody just spray you with random like it's weird. It's
Like,
weird, but apparently people do it all the time.
like,
Yeah, yeah. And see, something else that I have found to be interesting is there's a whole science about how you walk when you're on stage and how you carry yourself. You have to really think about your posture, and this is going to sound weird, but the way your pelvis is. So as you know, most people they're straight, but their derriere kind of sticks out. So
Mhm.
you have to really like focus on making sure your back is straight, and you have to tuck your pelvis because you want to create a straight line. So that's been very interesting. And so I've been walking around my house with like high heels on and workout clothes. And my husband's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm practicing my pelvis tilt."
Like walking in pelvis first into a room.
Yeah, it's like, okay. It's like, okay, I'm straight and my pelvis is in. Okay.
Like an
It's
SNL skit.
Yeah, that would be a great SNL skit. That would be great. They could have Sandra Bullock on telling everybody how to walk, and you could definitely that would you know what that would have been good for the 50th anniversary show. That would have been great.
I saw Alec Baldwin on it, and I was like, wow, they're really. I'm glad. I'm happy to see him, but it's just kind of like awkward to see him.
Yeah, they had Ryan Reynolds on there. Did you see that? Are you keeping up with the Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Fredoni? I think that's how you say his last name. Like that whole thing.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, they had him on there. They had Ryan Reynolds on there. That whole thing is fascinating. That is a black hole that you could go down for hours. That whole situation. It's
That's right.
fascinating.
I was reading on some of it, and then I just stopped reading because it just kind of it was never ending. Like you just it would not.
It's very much something that the mommy sleuths are into. And I just watch like for some reason Candace Owens keeps showing up on my YouTube feed, and I'm not really even like a political person, but she's been doing all these stories about it. So I've been sucked into it. And I find it very fascinating and very apparently now there's a debt that they're like going to court. Anyway, that's not what this interview is about. But it's very interesting. And apparently Taylor Swift might have to testify in court. Like, oh, T Swift calling her to
Good.
the stand.
Might as well have her in there too.
Why not? I mean, one of the Texas